John Gotti. The name alone evokes images of power, ruthlessness, and an era when the Mafia held an iron grip on New York City. His story is one of the most compelling in the annals of organized crime, a tale that has fascinated and horrified in equal measure. Known as the Teflon Don for his uncanny ability to evade convictions, Gotti's reign as head of the Gambino crime family, one of the 5 families of the American Mafia, was marked by both violence and a flamboyant public persona that captivated the media and instilled fear in the hearts of many. His ability to charm the public while maintaining a ruthless grip on his criminal empire made him a unique figure in the world of organized crime. This is the story of his meteoric rise, his utter dominance, and his ultimate fall from grace. Gotti's journey from the streets of Brooklyn to the pinnacle of the Mafia hierarchy is a testament to his cunning ambition and sheer force of will. Gotti's story is a classic tale of ambition, betrayal, and the intoxicating allure of power. It is a narrative that explores the darker side of the American dream, where the pursuit of success is often accompanied by violence and treachery. Born in the slums of East New York, Brooklyn in 1940, Gotti rose through the ranks of the Gambino family, leaving a trail of bodies and fear in his wake. His early years were marked by poverty and hardship, but Gotti's determination to escape his circumstances drove him to the world of organized crime. His brazen disregard for law enforcement and his knack for outmaneuvering his rivals earned him both admiration and notoriety. Gotti's ability to stay one step ahead of the law became legendary, and his courtroom victories only added to his mystique. He became a cultural icon, a symbol of the seductive danger and allure of organized crime. Gotti's style, charisma, and public persona made him a media darling, even as his criminal activities continued unabated. Gotti's story is not just about one man's rise and fall. It is a window into a bygone era of American history, when the Mafia's influence permeated every facet of society, from the docks to the highest echelons of power. The reach of the Mafia extended into politics, business, and everyday life, shaping the fabric of New York City in ways that are still felt today. It is a story about loyalty and betrayal, about the price of power, and about the inevitable consequences of a life lived outside the law. The alliances and rivalries within the Mafia were as complex as they were deadly, and Gotti's ability to navigate this treacherous landscape was key to his success. This documentary will delve into the life and times of John Gotti, exploring his criminal enterprise, his complex relationships, and the factors that led to his downfall. We will examine the intricate web of connections that allowed Gotti to rise to power and the relentless efforts of law enforcement to bring him to justice. Through archival footage, interviews with former associates, and expert analysis, we will unravel the myth of the Teflon Don and reveal the man behind the legend. Join us as we take an in-depth look at one of the most infamous figures in the history of organized crime and uncover the truth behind the legend of John Gotti. John Gotti's journey into the heart of organized crime began in the poverty-stricken streets of East New York, Brooklyn. Growing up in a large, impoverished family, Gotti turned to a life of crime at an early age, joining a local gang and quickly rising through the ranks. His intelligence, charisma, and ruthlessness caught the attention of higher-ups in the Gambino family, one of New York City's most powerful mafia organizations. Gotti's early days in the Gambino family were marked by loyalty, ambition, and a willingness to do whatever it took to climb the ladder of power. He became a trusted enforcer, known for his ruthlessness and efficiency in carrying out the family's dirty work. His reputation for violence preceded him, striking fear into the hearts of rivals and instilling loyalty among his crew. Gotti's rise through the ranks was not without its obstacles. The Gambino family, like all mafia families, was steeped in tradition and governed by a strict code of conduct. Challenging the established order was a dangerous game, often punishable by death. However, Gotti was not one to be deterred by tradition or fear. He saw an opportunity to seize power, recognizing weakness in the aging leadership of the Gambino family. He began to consolidate his power base, building a loyal following among the younger generation of mobsters who were eager for change and a larger share of the profits. This ambition would ultimately set the stage for a power struggle that would shake the very foundations of the Gambino family and propel Gotti into the national spotlight. By the early 1980s, John Gotti had become a major player within the Gambino family, rising through the ranks with a combination of street smarts, ruthlessness, and an unyielding ambition. But his ambition and growing influence put him at odds with the family's aging boss, Paul Castellano, who had a very different vision for the future of the organization. Castellano, known for his cautious approach and his preference for white-collar crimes, clashed with Gotti's more brazen style and his desire to expand the family's traditional rackets. Castellano believed in keeping a low profile, focusing on lucrative but less violent ventures like construction and labor racketeering. The tension between the two factions escalated, with Gotti and his loyalists feeling increasingly marginalized and disrespected by Castellano's leadership. Gotti's crew, who were more inclined towards the traditional violent methods of the Mafia, felt that Castellano's strategies were weakening their influence on the streets. Gotti believed that Castellano's cautious approach was stifling the family's profits and jeopardizing their long-term survival. He saw opportunities in the drug trade and other high-risk, high-reward activities that Castellano was reluctant to pursue. He argued that the Gambinos needed to be more assertive, more visible, and more willing to use violence to maintain their grip on power. Gotti's vision was one of dominance and fear, ensuring that the Gambino name would be respected and feared across the city. Adding to the internal turmoil were the relentless efforts of law enforcement agencies, particularly the FBI, who were determined to bring down the Gambino family and dismantle their criminal enterprise. The FBI's focus on the Mafia had intensified, with new technologies and strategies being employed to gather evidence. The FBI had been steadily building a case against the Gambinos for years, using informants, wiretaps, and surveillance to gather evidence of their illegal activities. They were patient and methodical, knowing that a single misstep could unravel their entire operation. Gotti, aware of the FBI's scrutiny, was careful to avoid direct involvement in criminal activities that could be easily traced back to him. He instructed his associates to be equally cautious, using coded language and avoiding places they knew were under surveillance. He cultivated an image of himself as a legitimate businessman, a man of the people who was being unfairly targeted by overzealous law enforcement officials. Gotti's public persona was meticulously crafted, and he made sure to be seen at high-profile events, shaking hands and mingling with influential figures. This carefully crafted persona, combined with his undeniable charisma and his ability to evade conviction, earned him the moniker the Teflon Don. The media loved him, and the public was fascinated by his larger-than-life character, which only added to his legend. However, the walls were closing in, and the stage was set for a dramatic showdown that would change the face of the American Mafia forever. The internal conflicts and external pressures were reaching a boiling point, and it was only a matter of time before everything came to a head. Under Gotti's leadership, the Gambino family's criminal empire flourished, extending its reach into various lucrative ventures. His reign marked a period of unprecedented growth and influence for the family as they expanded their operations and solidified their control over New York's underworld. Their operations encompassed a wide range of illegal activities, including loan sharking, illegal gambling, drug trafficking, construction racketeering, and extortion. Each of these ventures brought in substantial revenue, allowing the Gambinos to amass a fortune and exert their influence over various sectors of the city. Gotti's ruthless efficiency and his ability to inspire fear and loyalty among his soldiers made him a formidable force in the underworld. His charismatic yet intimidating presence ensured that his orders were followed without question, and his reputation for brutality kept potential rivals at bay. One of the Gambino's most lucrative operations was their control over the Fulton Fish Market, located on the southeastern tip of Manhattan. This strategic location allowed them to dominate the seafood supply chain, giving them significant leverage over the city's food industry. This bustling market, responsible for supplying a significant portion of the city's fresh seafood, had long been under the influence of organized crime. The Gambino's control over the market ensured a steady stream of income and allowed them to manipulate prices to their advantage. The Gambinos used their power to extort money from vendors, control prices, and influence labor unions. By maintaining a tight grip on the market, they were able to enforce their will and ensure that their operations ran smoothly without interference. In addition to traditional rackets, Gotti was not afraid to explore new avenues for profit. His innovative approach to crime allowed the Gambinos to stay ahead of law enforcement and rival families, constantly adapting to new opportunities. He recognized the immense financial potential of the burgeoning drug trade, despite the Mafia's traditional ban on narcotics trafficking. Gotti's decision to engage in drug trafficking was a calculated risk, one that promised high rewards but also brought significant danger. Gotti's willingness to disregard this long-standing rule, driven by his insatiable greed and his belief that the drug trade was too profitable to ignore, put him at odds with some of the more traditional factions within the Mafia. This internal conflict threatened to destabilize the family, as old-school mobsters clashed with those who supported Gotti's vision. The Gambino family's vast criminal enterprise generated immense wealth, which Gotti used to maintain his lavish lifestyle and to solidify his power base. His opulent way of living, complete with luxury cars, mansions, and extravagant parties, was a testament to the success of his criminal endeavors. He rewarded his loyal followers generously, ensuring their silence and their unwavering support. This loyalty was crucial for maintaining the family's cohesion and for protecting Gotti from potential betrayals. However, this ill-gotten wealth came at a steep price. The constant need to launder money and evade law enforcement created a high-stress environment, and the ever-present threat of arrest loomed over the family. The violence associated with the Gambino's operations, the countless lives destroyed by their ruthlessness, and the corrosive effect their criminal activities had on the city's fabric would ultimately lead to Gotti's downfall. The relentless pursuit by law enforcement and the growing public outcry against organized crime culminated in a series of high-profile arrests and convictions, bringing an end to Gotti's reign and marking a significant blow to the Gambino Empire.